Now we will discuss the fatal errors. There are 5 fatal errors. First one is E_error. This is a fatal runtime error that cannot be recovered from. The script stops running immediately. For example, this error will be produced if we try to instantiate an object of a non-existent class, or if we try to call a non-existent function. Let's see the example. Here we are creating an object of test class and we haven't defined test class anywhere in our code. And here we are calling hello function and we haven't defined hello function either. Now let's see the result. A fatal error that class test class not found. Here, when we try to call a non-existent class, it stops the script right there. And remaining code where we are calling a hello function and printing a message is not executed. Now comment this line, save it, and see the result. Now PHP has given the fatal error that call to undefined function hello. And you can see the script execution is stopped and the last line where we are trying to print a message is not executed. E_core error. This is a fatal error like an E error, except it is generated during the PHP engine's startup. And we cannot generate these errors from code. But if you ever see E_core error, it means there is some problem in PHP engine's startup. E_compile error. This is a fatal error like an E error, except it occurred while the script is being compiled. For example, if we want to use one PHP file in another PHP file, we use include or require statement. Now, include just includes the file, but if the file isn't available, compiler don't mind it. But when we use require, it acts like include, but as the name suggests, this file is required for the application to work correctly. So if the file is not available, the script is not going to compile either. So compile time fatal error is generated. Let's see the example. Here we are trying to include a file main_page.php using require statement, and this file doesn't exist. And at the second line we are printing a message. So let's see the result. Now first PHP is giving us a warning that no such file or directory, and then a fatal error. As this was a compile time fatal error, so script execution is not even started and our message was not printed. Now change this require statement to include and let's see the result. Now, as we have discussed earlier, that if we try to include or open a file that doesn't exist, PHP only gives us a warning that no such file or directory exists, and a warning that PHP has failed to open the file. But at warning, script execution is not stopped. So our message is printing here. E_user error. It is a user-generated fatal error, and we can generate it from our code using PHP function trigger_error. We will discuss all user-generated errors when we will discuss trigger_error function. E_recoverable error. It is a catchable fatal error. This is like an E error, but it can be caught by user-defined error handler. And how to catch it, we will see when we will discuss error handler. To generate this recoverable fatal error, first we will discuss double_toString method. This method is implemented in a class and it allows you to set a string value for the object. So if we try to convert an object into a string, this method will be called and the string value will be returned. But if this method is not implemented in a class and we try to cast its object into a string, it will generate irrecoverable error. Here we have a class test and we haven't implemented a toString method in it. Now here we are creating its object and then we are trying to cast this object into a string. Now let's see the result in the browser. And see, PHP is generating a catchable fatal error. That object of class test couldn't be converted to a string. Now implement a toString method in our class that is returning a string value, and again see the result. And it's working.